What is up, everybody? It is the True Epic Gamer here, and I am back after a long hiatus. And we are back with an absolute banger. UFO 50, a brand new game created by Mossmouth. The creators of Spelunky 1 and Spelunky 2 have come out with what appears to be a complete masterpiece of a game. I've only played it for about an hour and a half, and I can already tell that the game is going to be absolutely amazing. As you can see in the background, I'm on the game selection screen, and essentially what this game is a collection of 50 different individual games. And I know what you're thinking, 50 mini games, right? That's the catch with this game here, is that they're not mini games. They're full-blown games, 50 full games. Now, every game is not going to be, you know, some 40-hour adventure, obviously. But we're not talking about mini games here. We are talking about full-blown games. Now, before we dive right in, let me give a quick explanation of what I understand the story of this game to be so far. Now, I could be completely wrong on a lot of factors since I'm so early on, but essentially the idea that I'm getting is that UFO is a game development software company, a fictional one within this game, right? And they created these games. And these games are in order of release year, fictional release year, as if these were all released in the 80s. As you can see, when you click on each game, it'll tell you the year it came out, and it'll give you a little bit of a story behind the game, the developers that made it, something along those lines. Now, where this can get really interesting is as you progress through the games and through the fictional years, then the games get more advanced, and some of the games even have sequels within this game. You'll see things like the fictional console will get upgraded, so like it'll be the second version of that console and the colors will be better and things like that. So it's essentially like you're actually going through the timeline of 80s game development. But that's enough of me going on and on about the concept of this game, right? How about the games? Let's jump right in. Our first game is Barbuda. Now this game, it tells you to explore a castle, but watch out for traps. So here I am just, you know, trying to figure out the controls. Extremely simple controls, 2-button controls. You can jump, you can swing your sword. Really basic, exactly how you would expect a game from the 80s to be. We're going to talk about this later, but you can see me trying to explore this weird looking block up here. I have no idea what to do with it, nor have I figured that out yet. But let's go back to the very beginning of this game. So if you remember at the very beginning, it told us to explore the castle and watch out for traps. If I would have went right at the beginning of the game like a normal human being, I would have seen a trap right off the gate. And I'm not even kidding you guys, I didn't even realize until I just rewatched it right now that there's actually a little secret button on the floor that causes that trap. I kind of just thought it just fell on you until I just rewatched it when I was creating this video. So this game wastes no time at all showing you exactly what type of game it is. You're going to explore this castle, and there's going to be traps. As you can see, there's plenty of stuff around that you just have no idea what to do with. Like that chest, we just can't jump that high, at least not yet. I go down this ladder, immediately I see that I can't cross this path. But I think to myself, I could probably make that, right? I'm like, well, maybe I can't make the jump. So I'll go up, I'll go to this other side, and I'll just walk off. Let's give it a shot. Okay, that did not work. As you can see how the lives in this game work, it shows you on the right, you rehatch in those eggs. So you have a total of 6 lives. Then I try and jump, that works. So essentially walking off edges, I learned now that it pushes you forward a little bit. You can't just fall right off an edge. I have no idea if I could have made it through these spikes, but it looked like I couldn't because as far as I know, I can't crouch. So we're going to continue. Once again, looking at that treasure chest, looks like we're going to have to get it from that ladder over there. Doesn't look like we can get to it. Now for a little bit more of a complex room, but it finally looks like we could get to this chest. Now I'm going to start fast forwarding around and skipping around and stuff just because I want to show you guys as much as I possibly can in as short amount of time as possible. We did get that chest. It's got some gold in it. We got some cash, 50 bucks. We have no idea what to do with that yet. We see this treasure chest. We try a couple of stupid ideas, jump up, swing our sword, maybe knock it down. No luck. Eventually, we make our way to this room right here. We climb up slowly but surely. This is fast forward a lot. And, okay, we died. We have to try this again. Go back up there, all the way up. All right, this time we made it. We go into what is our first door in this castle. We see some extremely weird looking blob man. And believe it or not, we can actually talk to this guy. Hello, welcome to my home. If you wish to make any headway here, keep an eye out for anything out of the norm. So, I proceed to run around like an absolute maniac, swinging my sword at everything in sight and constantly talking to him over and over again. I can't find anything. But, as soon as I walk out, I notice something. If you see the acid pool on the far right, it's not moving. He told us to look for something out of the norm, and believe it or not, we actually found it. So we're going to make our way over there. Thankfully, it didn't die, because if we would have had to do that again, I'm not sure I could have kept playing. Go through a hidden wall, and bam! We found the chest that we were going to get earlier. So as you guys can see, this game is all about exploring this castle with tons of secrets and obviously plenty of things to learn. That chest actually gave us an item. To be honest, it kind of looks like the power bracelet from Zelda games. So that could be what it is. Not sure. Have only played a few times. Nonetheless, this game honestly seems amazing and I'm going to have a ton of fun exploring this castle. This game appears to have a ton of secrets and lots of things that intrigued me personally. Like, for example, one thing I didn't talk about, if you look on the bottom left, there's kind of like a map down there. It's basically a grid and it shows you where you are in the castle at all times. We are that little pink square. And if you look even closer, you see that really small square in the top left. That actually changes where it is every time we switch which room we're in. I have absolutely no idea what it means. The only thing I can think of is like a boss that's roaming around the castle as we're roaming around, which honestly just sounds awesome, but I have no idea what it is. And that's kind of the amazing part about this game specifically, are the tons of secrets and the tons of things like that weird block I talked about at the very beginning. Just things that I have no idea what they are and I want to find out. Makes me want to keep playing. All in all, this game seems amazing, and with this being the first game on the list, I think that was a great decision. Because don't forget, guys, there are 50 games. This is the first one and we've barely cracked the surface of this one. But nonetheless, we're going to move on because I don't want to spend too much time on a single game, and we're only going to be able to cover a few games in this video anyway. Moving on to our second game, Bug Hunter. Now, what this shows you really quickly is that these games are each completely different from one another, aside from the ones that are going to be sequels, obviously. So this game starts out with an actual little story it tells you. If you notice at the very end of it, it said something about the cubes explode. Something that you'll see later I clearly didn't pay any attention to. Now, I'm not sure what this type of game is called. I don't really play any games like this. Maybe you'd call it a turn-based game, I guess. But essentially, you can see I'm scrolling through my options at the bottom, and some of my options are just to move my character, whereas other ones are to take out enemies in different ways. Shooting, lobbing, just different things like that. I'm really just trying to figure out what each one is. Essentially, this hop mechanic is the only way I can get up on those platforms. But, long story short, to make it simple, I need to take out all these aliens. However, whenever I use a move, it goes away. It took me a little while to figure out exactly how this game worked, but those little golden cubes laying around, those are the energy cubes, and that's actually how I purchase different options on the far right. Now, this did seem like a cool concept, but it got really cool after the first day, as they call it on the top left. So essentially what happens is once you run out of moves and out of energy, you rest. And if you look on the screen now, you can see any bugs that you left alive, they actually evolve, and they evolve in different ways. That's the cool part about it. So as you just seen that blue guy up there, it said something about whenever he evolves, he rises up on a platform. Each alien has its own type of evolution. So as you guys can see, each one of these bugs, they evolve in a different way. As you can see, this one here, it says he digs his own grave. What this ended up amounting to is that those blocks right there that he digs his grave in, I can't walk over them anymore. This guy here, when he evolves, he turns the energy into anti-energy, aka bad energy. I didn't try getting it yet, so I'm not sure what it does. Can't imagine it's anything good though. And as you can see on the bottom left, if you wait long enough, they'll lay eggs. You can't let those eggs hatch. Or, as I learned the hard way, it will be a game over. As you can see right here, this is what happens when you let the eggs hatch. I know I keep calling them aliens, even though they're bugs, but I mean, come on, look at these things. These things are aliens. Anyway, you guys get the gist of this game. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I do want to cover more games. But before I do switch, this is me accidentally unaliving myself by blowing up one of those energy cubes because I thought gold is good. Not the case in this game, fellas, as it told you in the intro. Moving on to our third game, I believe it's pronounced Nenek, but I could be completely wrong. It is 2 players. That is one thing I did forget to mention about this game, is that out of the 50 games, I believe half of them are multiplayer. I haven't tried the multiplayer. I do believe it's only local, but I'm not 100% on that. Now this game, it starts out with a cute little scene of someone stealing your sandwich. And you think, man, this game is just, it's going to be such a good time. Well, this game was, I won't say it was not a good time. You know what? I will say that. It was not a good time. I was getting absolutely destroyed by everything on the screen. Honestly, I'm gonna fast forward through my entire gameplay of this because I was getting completely smacked up. You see that dragon on the bottom of the screen, or whatever the heck it is in the water? That thing killed me 1,000 times. I kept telling myself, oh, I'm gonna go until I have at least a decent run on this game. No, impossible. Completely impossible. This was by far the hardest of the games that I played so far. I mean, I couldn't get anywhere in this thing. I only tried it a few times, so I am being a little hard on myself. But seriously, guys, this thing was pretty tough. Like, the dragons at the bottom were just... It's not so much that they were unpredictable. It's just that there's so much on your screen that it was hard to pay any attention to it. From what I can see, the goal of this game is the score, but it seems like the most important thing are the sandwiches laying around, which I only found 1 so far. But this game is tough. Seriously, those dragons, everything really is a problem. Everything does one-shot you. It's just those dragons coming up is just really hard to pay any attention when you got so many things going on in front of you. There's honestly not much more to say about this game, so here's a 30-second montage of every single one of my attempts on this extremely difficult game. And keep in mind that every time it pops up and says game over, that means that I died 3 times because I start with 3 lives. So each one of these game overs are me dying 3 times. So I'm not joking, guys. This one was brutal for me, especially compared to the other ones so far. So, without further ado, moving on to our next game, Paint Chase. This game also starts out with a cute little intro. You're on your way to the paint racing competition. You get stuck in line. You're not too happy about it. Who would be, you know? Now, we start on the first level. It says goal 50%. At the time, wasn't paying attention. In fact, I even start this AFK. But as I learned after 1 or 2 tries, or 1 try, I guess, essentially the idea is you want to cover up as much of the screen as it tells you to. So we need 50% on level 1 in order to pass, which is not challenging at all, especially whenever I realized I can just run right into these other paint rolling vehicles, which I really didn't expect, because, you know, most games like this, if you crash into another vehicle, you just lost your life, you know, you're not going to be able to continue. No, that's not how this game works. And I'm not going to lie, it was a ton of fun just destroying the other vehicles on the road. As you can see, once you finish the level, it'll show you exactly the percentage that you covered. You hit your percent, you get your score, you move on to the next level. This is not level 2. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward you guys. This is level 4, because this is the one that I couldn't pass with all 3 of my lives. Things just got pretty difficult. They started spawning enemies quicker. The enemies are moving quicker. They are hitting the little boost pads everywhere. There's buttons that cover up part of the screen. So, like, I guess the idea is you would paint it and then you would cover it up so it would no longer be a problem. All in all, this was a really fun game. Like I said, I really did enjoy running into the other vehicles, and it did amp up difficulty quickly, which will have you coming back time and time again. Which, if I didn't mention about the Ninja game as well, I'm not saying that difficulty is a bad thing. I personally love difficult games. It gives you a reason to come back and try and do better than you did last time. Now, let's go ahead and move on to our next game, Magic Garden. Essentially, this game, you want to collect these things that are called oppies. You run them over these stars and you drop them off. When you drop off 6 of them, you get a magic potion. If you go to drop them off and you miss some, then the ones that you miss, not the ones you leave laying around, but like let's say you have a long train behind you of like 7 of them and you only get 5 of them, the ones that you're carrying behind you that you don't get into the stars, they'll turn into enemies. And once you get the potion, you can take out the enemies. Kind of the way I could explain this game, to be honest, it's kind of like a combination of Pac-Man and Snake, like a classic Snake game, because your character is constantly moving and you're snaking, you're getting these oppies behind you in a train. But then once you get the potion, you're able to take out your enemies in a Pac-Man style fashion. This game was a lot of fun. It's another one of the examples of these games where it's like, it seems really basic, but they just add in these extra complexities that just make the game a lot of fun. By far the hardest part is that you can only move, forward, left, right, like in a grid fashion. Obviously, it's an old style game. That's how they're supposed to be. But I just found myself, I kept trying to hit like just go straight backwards when I'm going straight forwards and end up just running straight into a wall, which obviously I get a game over for that. All in all, really enjoyable experience. Not much more to say about it. Let's move on to the next one. So, moving on to the last game of the day, Mortal. Let me just tell you guys, look at this amazing title screen here and know that you're about to see something absolutely insane. So let's start out, let's actually pay attention to this intro right here. Among the ancient ruins outside our dear capital, a great evil has reawakened. Will you lay down your lives to defend Mortalia? Okay, that intro is sick, right? To serve the cause, you must master 3 rituals. The ritual of the arrow, the ritual of the bomb, and the ritual of stone. So I'm thinking, okay, my guy, he's got these abilities. And you see, this is amazing too, right? You got your actual level screen where you actually go through the world. I'll go ahead and tell you guys, I didn't make it very far, but I'm definitely going to be replaying this one. Because I'm going to be honest, I thought the first game of the day was going to be the best one, and I'm not 100% it's not, but this one might be it. This is definitely the top 2. This one and the first one, definitely the top 2 that I played out of the 6 that I've played so far. Look at this. I really just didn't even comprehend what was about to happen. I have to unalive myself in creative ways to continue making it through the level. So as you guys can see, I used the ritual of the arrow to basically make platforms for my guy to climb up. And I'm just leaving my dead bodies there to help me out, to further me through my mission, right? And of course, I'm down to the last option. I've got a suicide bomb to kill this pig, which later I learned, what's really the point in killing the enemies? Pretty much nothing unless they're really in your way, I guess. But it's more or less a waste of a life. As you can see at the top right, you can see how many bodies you've got left. I'm not even going to call them lives, I'm going to call them bodies. So I believe we started with 20. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you guys different areas that cause for really cool little puzzles. You can see one coming up right here. Down there, there's a 3, so I would imagine it's going to give me 3 lives, right? So I want to ask myself, how many lives am I willing to risk to get it? There's one. We're going to have to arrow our way into it. And then we accidentally get folded. So it basically wasn't worth it. If I would have done it properly, obviously it would have been worth it. It could have just costed me 1. But as you guys can see, it's going to give you little puzzles like that everywhere. where you have to decide how many lives you're willing to risk in order to gain more. And as you can see, I'm just over here building a body ladder for myself to climb up and continue through the level. So as you can imagine, it just causes for some extremely creative platforming decisions that you need to make in order to continue through the level and in order to get more lives. And it's honestly just a ton of fun. Like right here, I'm like, okay, I gotta time an arrow properly. And I do, and I get those. And then I go up here, and I obviously know that I have to bomb, but I'm like, well, how am I gonna get in there, right? I've already got my arrow, he's already there. My body arrow is already placed. Don't worry about how many times I died to this pig right here. Gave me 10 lives into the level, and that's just the first level, guys. All in all, this game really was amazing, and I was just completely blown away, surprised by the concept of the game, because I really thought that first game was just going to be the best one that we played, but this one is up there. Now, as you guys can see, if I haven't made it clear already, this game really blew me away, and I've barely even cracked the surface of it at all. As you guys can see, I've only played 6 of the 50 games, and I only played the game in total for about an hour and a half, and I was truly impressed by everything that I've seen. A couple of things I want to mention that I didn't mention yet is each game, first of all, has a beginning and an end. Like I already told you guys, they are full games. But this area you're looking at right here called the garden, so each game has some sort of achievement. It's not necessarily beating the game, but it's something that the game specifically wants you to do, and you'll unlock something for your garden. I didn't get any of those in my playthrough. I do plan on going back and obviously eventually getting all of them, but just getting one of them first to kind of see what it is. But what I imagine it as is a little collection room, kind of like little trophies you've got in there to show your accomplishments in each one of these individual games. Now guys, I had a ton of fun playing this and a ton of fun making this video as well. You guys let me know in the comments really what you guys want to see. Do you want to see more of some of the games that we've already played? Do you want to see me figure out some secrets in those games? Do you want to see me continue and make a little breakdown of each one of these games, how I have been so far until we eventually get all 50? Or is it something completely different? Let me know in the comments, guys. Obviously, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And as always, peace.